Do not delay in the attack. When the foe has been split off and cut down, pursue him immediately and give him no time to assemble or form up. Spare nothing. Field Marshal Prince Alexander V. Suvorov. When we have incurred the risk of battle, we should know how to profit by the victory, and not merely content ourselves, according to custom, with possession of the field. Maurice de Saxe. It is not enough merely to gain an advantage. The enemy will not surrender simply because he is at a disadvantage. Successful commanders aggressively exploit opportunities. These opportunities can be created or arise out of the flow of battle. And when an opportunity presents itself, we must seize it. Building on advantage. Once we have gained an advantage, we exploit it. We use it to create new opportunities and shape the flow of action. Like the chess grandmaster, we must think ahead to our next move and one beyond it. How am I going to use this advantage to create another one? Consolidation, exploitation, and pursuit. Once we have created leverage, how do we take advantage of it? Decisive victories rarely stem from the initial win. Most times, total victory is the result of aggressively exploiting some relative advantage until it becomes decisive. We capitalize on bad situations for our enemy. This exploitation of the enemy's bad situation yields decisive results. The first way we can exploit success is by consolidation. This is stopping. We consolidate after we seize a position from the enemy. The aims are limited. We protect what we've already gained. We must remember that when consolidating, even if necessary, we surrender the initiative. There may be a number of reasons for doing this. It may be that we need a rest. We lack the strength to continue the attack. The objective that we gained might be our final objective. And to push forward would risk losing it. We weigh the advantages and disadvantages. The second way we pursue an advantage is through exploitation, which means we attack the enemy and disorganize him in depth. We simultaneously dictate the terms in several different areas. Exploitation follows a successful attack. We watch for vulnerabilities to be created. An example may be the enemy's lightly defended supply areas or flanks, their sides. The objective of an exploitation may not be total destruction, but rather a general weakening of the entire enemy formation. The third way to exploit advantage is through pursuit. In a pursuit, we attack and cut off our enemy. A pursuit is designed for total destruction. We seek to end the battle through a pursuit. Overwhelming victories can result. Finishing the enemy. We seek to cultivate opportunities and form them into a decisive advantage. We seek to cultivate opportunities into a decisive advantage. Picture a boxing match that ends without a knockout. We seek the knockout. Marine Corps tactics require leaders who can finish the fight. And as such, a Marine commander is always looking for the opportunity to deliver the decisive blow. Finishing the enemy once and for all comes from possessing an aggressive mentality. Secondly, it stems from an understanding of the commander's intent. And third, from a keen situational awareness that helps us to recognize and exploit opportunities as they present themselves. Use of a reserve. The reserve is an important tool for exploiting success. The reserve is a part of the commander's combat power, initially withheld from the action. Its purpose is to influence future action. We create and maintain a reserve to provide flexibility to deal with uncertainty, chance, and general disorder we find in war. Reserves are valuable tools for maintaining adaptability. In general, the more uncertain your situation, the larger your reserve should be. From Napoleon: war is composed of nothing but accidents, and a general should never lose sight of everything to enable him to profit from those accidents. What Napoleon speaks of when he mentions accidents are opportunities and crises that no one could have planned. We deal with this uncertainty with our reserve. The commander has a purpose for the reserve and designs it for that purpose. It may be the commander's most trusted and able subunit, or it may be the most mobile. or it may be the strongest. When planning to designate a reserve, the commander envisions that this is the unit that will finish the enemy. Winston Churchill recognized the value of a reserve when he wrote, "It is in the use and withholding of reserves that the great commanders have generally excelled." After all, when once the last reserve has been thrown in, the commander's part is played. The event must be left to pluck into the fighting troops. Churchill is saying, not only is the reserve important, but is potentially the last move the commander can make in the battle. A strong reserve is a way to retain the initiative. When an advance slows, the reserve can be committed to restore momentum. The reserve can expand or exploit successes, or we may commit the reserve in another direction. Thus, without a strong reserve, even the most promising opportunities can be lost. When we commit our reserve to deal with a crisis, it is rendered temporarily unavailable for commitment elsewhere. In these situations, a reserve should be reconstituted as rapidly as possible. In such instances, a reserve should be reconstituted as rapidly as possible. Another subunit is designated as the reserve. In other words, a commander should never be without a reserve. Picture the reserve as a club, ready, organized, and always prepared to smash and finish the battle once and for all. And it is generally through offensive action, even when we were on the defense, through the counterattack. In addition to the physical opportunities that present themselves, the commander is aware of the intangible factors: fatigue, leadership quality, proficiency, morale, and teamwork. We build reserves with this in mind, and we commit the reserve with this in mind. How can you plan and execute the reserve concept in your organization? Conclusion. Most decisive victories do not result from the initial action, rather from quickly and aggressively exploiting an opportunity created by that action. There are a number of ways to exploit tactical opportunity, but they all have the same object: to increase leverage until we have the final opportunity to decide the issue once and for all in our favor. The goal is not merely to gain an advantage, but to boldly and ruthlessly exploit that advantage to achieve final victory.